It was hard to decide a third place person because I feel like upon rewatch, one of them kind of shone a little bit more, even though I still don't really know him. Unfortunately, that's counting against him, so I'm picking the one I know, who had a lot of good confessionals, including one where he compared his team to my roommate's favorite movie.
We're going down in flames. Titanic ain't got on us.
I already mentioned that I thought that Zach's attacking Mary was pretty rude and unprofessional, and that wasn't really what I like to see in Zach. However, Zach did call out Dan.
Chef, when Chef Ray's cooking, you hear Dan saying smart things like Ray's in my way, and we can't move forward with somebody like that.
He's full of Chef.
And Chef, right now, if you don't believe me, as I'm telling you this, he's literally giving me the finger behind his back.
Oh, I did. I just gave him the finger, Chef.
He's doing like this to me right now.
Yeah.
Behind your back. This is the kind of attitude that we put up with on a consistent basis, and the team is sick of it.
Zach has been funny the entire episode, and Zach didn't fuck up on service. Zach very rarely fucks up on service, but this one he really didn't. So, it's good. Zach's been kind of falling in my ranking for a while. Before it was like, I love Zach, but do I love Zach? Because where has Zach been? Zach, the whole lying to Ramsey thing was pretty bad, so I don't know. He did call out Dan. It was a strike, and multiple people, like, Ramsey saw the fight with Dan and Michael, so he knows that people don't like Dan. So he's either going to eliminate Dan because Dan's fucking annoying, or he's going to put Dan on another team eventually because no one likes him. That's really all for Zach. Zach didn't really do anything. It's just who else did anything. Unfortunately, Janelle usually gets second place, and this week she's not going to get second place for star of the episode, or like I don't think that, I just don't remember anything Janelle did this entire time except yell about fire and passion, which unfortunately was one thing, and then I never heard from her again the entire episode. So Zach's gonna get my vote. Zach, I love Zach. It's just, I don't know. I feel like I don't love him as much. He used to be like my top favorite guy, or like kind of my top favorite guy. But now it's like he's kind of slipped, trying to get back up. He's not nearly as inconsistent as John is, but still, I don't know. I'd kind of rather see John in the finals for some reason. I mean, I don't really want to see John in the finals, but I mean, like, Final 4, Final 3, like, at the pass, like, I'd rather see John, I think. I think I'd rather see John make it further. Second place, usually would go to Janelle, but instead, considering how Janelle has been invisible this entire episode, and there was another person that wasn't as invisible, second place star of the episode goes to a person on the blue team that has 30 minutes to spare on his hair and a winning smile.
I don't ever want to do this again. Are you kidding me? I got no time. It takes me a half hour to do my hair. It's a half-hour process just to get my hair this way.
Hey, Barrett.
Yes, Chef.
Hair looks beautiful. Tickets look dreadful. Let's go. Come on.
If you need anything, listen, just throw a piece of bread at me. It'll probably get stuck in my hair, so I'm okay.
Out in the dining room, Barrett.
Barrett gets about like 5 confessionals an episode, and they're all really funny. And like, it's a funny, here we go. It's kind of like a funny, relatable way. It's like, okay, you're sitting there watching Barrett talk in the confessional room, and it's like listening to a friend talk to you over Skype, pretty much. That's how, it's like a close friend. And on top of that, he's really solid on service. The only time he got kicked out because of anything he did was because Michael was fucking up on meat in the first service, and Barrett walked up with his, and I guess sliced too early, and then so his overcooked while Michael's was raw. I don't really think that's his fault, and I don't think he should have been kicked out, but what can you do? You know how I said Barrett gets like 5 confessionals per episode? Yeah, he got about 10 this week. Oh my god, it was like, this episode was so Barrett heavy. It was great, and it's nice hearing his take on things and his reactions to Jean-Philippe.
Just want to grab it and like throw it away, but I can't do that.
He didn't do too well as a server, but that's not his fucking job. I didn't think his handwriting was that bad. I read the word Wellington like multiple times on the ticket. Unfortunately, everyone's judging him on this one quote that I personally thought was quote of the season. That I'm personally declaring at the moment quote of the season.
Whatever. I just don't have the best handwriting in the world, so, you know, if you want me to write like a bitch, I guess I'll have to write like a bitch.
When I first heard it, I kind of thought he was saying, if you want me to write like an overly sophisticated or a fancy person, like Gordon. You know, like Gordon. Or Jean-Philippe. Like Jean-Philippe. Like, because Jean-Philippe, he takes himself so seriously, and I think I thought that's what Barrett meant. If he did mean write like a girl, though, who the fuck cares? Girls write well. I thought write like a bitch was hilarious, and I was dying laughing. I even actually said, give Barrett the rest of the confessionals, don't give any to the girls anymore, I don't care. He's not even trying to be funny, I think. He's just fucking funny, and that's the best type of funny. He's been solid, and he's been funny. Always a good thing. Unfortunately for Barrett, though, there was one person who is as funny, as relatable, although in a different way, as solid as the chef, that did better in the overall episode. This person proved me right in everything I've been saying since day one. So, first place star of the week goes to
Anthony.
Walk up with it. Those better be the best halibut. Not hard. That's ridiculous. Unbelievable. Please be cooked. For the love of God, be cooked. If I have to kick someone out of the kitchen myself, they're getting out. I was doing good, damn it.
Oh my god, I'm like nervous this comparison's not gonna either be understood, agreed with, or anything. If Anthony hears it, he might, I don't want to offend him. I hope that he's okay with it. This is just how I played the game. You know when you got your first Pokemon game, it was probably Pokemon Red or Pokemon Blue, or if you really were late in the game, you probably at least got Leaf Green or Fire Red. You got 3 starter Pokemon. More than likely, you probably picked Charmander. You gravitated to Charmander because 1, it's the fire type. 2, it'll eventually become a Charizard. Charizard, everyone wanted a Charizard when I was a kid because Charizard was, of the non-legendary variety, the best Pokemon. That was how it was when I first got my Pokemon games, and everyone was like, I want a Charizard. Don't get another Pokemon. You don't want a Blastoise. You don't want a fucking Venusaur. Like, you don't even want a fucking, like, Aerodactyl or anything. Just get a Charizard. I easily beat my rival, and easily embered my way through the Viridian Forest, and through all the bug catchers, and everyone like that. Once you get to Brock, though, kind of yikes, you know? It's like, whoops. I made the wrong decision because fire is not effective against rock. Everyone explains it, and that's why everyone picks Charmander. And basically, if you're gonna play that game, you gotta EV train the shit out of your Pokemon. And that's fine, and that's fair. And if I wanted to play with a Charizard, I would just EV train the shit out of my Pokemon. Here's the problem. There's no EV training in Hell's Kitchen, so that analysis doesn't make any sense. So, who's gonna be Charmander? Let's say Charmander, Zach. Charmander will kick your rival's ass, just like Zach was best of worst in that service, and did really well in that first challenge. You'll eventually get to Pewter City with Brock. You know, like the HK3K with Zach. And the lying and things. And that's when you realize, well, shit, I'm fucked. And then even then, Zach still hasn't really shown himself since then. So, Charmander, kind of the same thing. There's all this talk about Charmanders and Zach when I'm supposed to be talking about Anthony. Here's why. Bulbasaur kicks Brock's ass, kicks Misty's ass. Pretty sure I kicked Lieutenant Surge's ass and did not use any of my rock Pokemon or anything like that. I think I even beat Blaine with my Venusaur, but I mean by that time he was like super strong. He's gonna hate me. Oh my god, he's gonna hate me for this comparison. I'm gonna like lose my favorite Hell's Kitchen contestant as thinking that I'm his best fan or anything like that, or he's gonna not want me to be his fan anymore. All that in mind, I'm gonna take a risk. Let's say Anthony is the Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur is just as cute as Charmander, and Squirtle for that matter. And in all honesty, I think Anthony is by far the cutest guy out of all of them. Hands down. Way cutest. Bulbasaur didn't do too well when I played against my rival. Bulbasaur didn't do too well against Charmander. You know who didn't do well in his signature... You know who didn't do well in his signature dish challenge? Anthony. Yeah. But after you get through that little bit, you get to Pewter City. Bulbasaur kicks everyone's ass. You know who's been kicking everyone's ass lately in Hell's Kitchen? Anthony. That's why. I mean, that's just a comparison. That's not really why I like Anthony. Obviously, I like Anthony because he's funny. He's really talented. He's adorable. He's the whole relatable. The difference between Barrett and Anthony is when Barrett's talking to you in the confessional room, as I said, it's like kind of talking to a good friend of yours on Skype. When you're watching Anthony in the confessionals, it's like you're watching someone who's really relatable that you want to be best friends with. I don't know how he's gonna feel about the comparison that I basically said he was like a Bulbasaur. I don't know how he's gonna feel about that. For all I know, he might not want to be my best friend. But I'd love to be best friends with Anthony. I think he's that awesome. I think he's that smart. He's that funny. He's so relatable. I feel like we'd get along a lot. Like, we could still talk about Pokemon. We could still talk about, like, you know, video games and stuff. I'd love to be friends with Anthony. The thing is, my dad never really believed that Anthony could win or could do well in the competition because of the Signature Dish Challenge. Signature Dish Challenge means absolutely fucking nothing. Watch all the Signature Dish Challenges. They're all probably on YouTube. Just like all the model makeovers are always on YouTube every season. You gotta watch all of them. Take note. 8 out of the 10 winners sucked and did a poor job at the Signature Dish Challenge. You people have to think about that. Signature dish means nothing. Anthony may not have done a good job in his signature dish. That does not take away any credibility to him or any possibility that he could easily make it to the finals and win. Unfortunately, though, since then, it has been a little bit of a struggle. I'm like, Anthony's solid. Anthony hasn't done anything wrong. He fucked up his ankle and didn't complain once he was in the kitchen, other than like a little bit about how it hurt. Whatever. He wasn't crying. He wasn't like doing anything once he got down. The problem with Anthony, and it's nothing that he's done. It's nothing. He's done nothing wrong. It's just the fact that he's good. He's always been good. But for the longest time, he's never been the front runner. And I've been like, I want to feel justified in the fact that I really want you in the finals. And yeah, everyone thinks Janelle's gonna win. Janelle could easily win. But I'm always like, Anthony's my favorite. I want Anthony in the finals. And, you know, Janthony final too. Come on, I want it. I want Janelle and Anthony in the final fucking too. I'll be upset if they're not. I mean, honestly, every single final 2 situation I want, I need it. I will only be fully satisfied if Anthony is there. Like, you know, if it's like a Janthony final 2, a Xanthony, a Banthony, a Janthony, like, I don't fucking care. Any of them, I need Anthony there. And I keep telling people, Anthony's got promise. Anthony's gonna do well. Like, Anthony's gonna be
the very best, like no one ever was.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I'm sitting there like, oh my god, please happen. And then this episode happened.
Wellington's cooked perf.
Thank you, Chef, yes.
Wellington's beautifully
Thank
cooked.
you,
Pork's beautifully cooked. Hey, Anthony!
Chef,
Take all your perfectly cooked Wellingtons. I'd be furious. Every meat you cooked tonight has been perfect.
yes, Chef.
Sabotaged by somebody who's not even cooking it.
All right, you guys gonna... Damn it.
I almost cried when Anthony was told that his Wellingtons were perfect and everything he had cooked was perfect, because I was like, I knew it. I knew that he could do well, and I was just so proud and so happy that it's like my favorite is finally proving me correct, proving that he is a dark horse, a force to be reckoned with. I'm so happy. I was so happy. So obviously Anthony by a landslide was best of this episode, star of this episode. Hey, he got to nominate everyone or tell the nominations. I am a little worried that he's not, I'm not saying it's a fluke. Obviously it wasn't a fluke. He's good at it. But I'm a little worried that I don't want it to backfire. I have watched the previews for the next episode. I know exactly what's going to happen. at least in terms of what happens after the to be continued. And I'm a little nervous now. But I'm hoping, I think he should be okay, but I'm worried. I believe in him. I still think that he can make it to the end, and I hope he does. And I love him. He's my favorite. So I haven't liked someone this much from the premiere, from the first confessional I saw him in, or them in, since Ariel, season 6. Ariel is my favorite contestant in the history of... It's a close match between her and Dave, but I loved Ariel. Like, it was at the point where when Ariel screwed up, I turned off the TV. I was like, I'm not watching this anymore. I don't want to see her screw up. That is how much I love Ariel. Pretty sure if that ever happened to Anthony, I might actually have to turn off the TV. Who knows? But I'm so proud of him. I want him in the finals so badly, I can't even handle it. And I really hope that he keeps up being the strongest right now. Anthony wasn't just the best of the blue team this week. He was the best of the both teams. Like, he was the best. I really just want him to keep going. I don't want him to fuck up. I never want him nominated. I don't want him anywhere close to being in trouble. And I hope that he never gets there. The final 2 with Anthony, you should root for. Definitely. Okay, I have talked about this for way too long. I've talked about Pokemon more so than I've talked about Hell's Kitchen. I'm done. He's gonna hate me. He probably had a Charmander that he EV trained. There's no EV training in Hell's Kitchen though. I can't. What if he was a Squirtle? Who would be Squirtle out of all the boys? I was kind of thinking Michael. I was kind of thinking Michael, but I'm not sure.